First of all, I'd like to preface this by saying that I really want to try and incorporate like my whiteboard into my elevator speeches. And so if this doesn't work out or if this is awkward since it's the first one, like I want you guys to tell me in the comments so that I can like switch to like using a Canva presentation or just talking. I just thought it would be fun to like write some of the like main points and then like erase them as I go instead of writing them, so that like we're focused on like one piece at a time. So yeah. Also, I am BB-8 for Halloween and today is character day at work, so that's why I'm just wearing like a random white shirt and yoga pants in my classroom. So the first thing that we covered is the 17 principles of teaching, which we incorporate into our USC Aiken lesson plan templates. And so Barack Rosenshire is the one who like coined these terms and like kind of perfected them and came up with them. And so the 17 principles of teaching are by beginning with a short review, breaking new information into smaller steps, kind of like task analysis for your students, limiting materials to one at a time to help not overwhelm them, all that good stuff so they can focus, giving clear and detailed instructions, ask a lot of questions so that you can help a lot of students answer, you can help different higher order thinking processes. You should always include active practice. Definitely guide students through the process. You should think aloud, you should model. You should have models of worked out problems available for students in different formats based on their individual needs. You should ask students to explain what they've been taught. You should check the responses of all of your students. You should definitely get systematic feedback. You should give students more time to provide explanations, give lots of examples, reteach if necessary, prepare for independent practice, and monitor when they begin independent practice. So these are especially excellent in special education, but all education, but especially special education. Like a lot of this goes into accommodations, some of it can go into modifications. Some students are going to need more active practice than others. Some students are going to need you to think aloud and model more than others. It goes back to like the individual needs of each student, special education, all that good stuff. So there are also 8 characteristics that special education teachers exhibit that kind of sets them apart and makes them more prepared to help students who have more individualized needs. They maximize academic engagement. They ensure high rates of correction and academic responding. They maximize the amount of content covered. They match assignments to student ability, back to the individualization. They teach academic content explicitly. They scaffold, one of my favorite parts of education. They provide direct instruction, and they monitor student progress. So what do the 17 principles of teaching and the 8 characteristics of a good special education teacher have in common? Well, teachers model, they lead, and they test. That's like a flow that we have. It's also same thing, I do. So the teacher, I do, I model, I do guided practice, I think aloud. Then we all do it together. We're thinking aloud, we're doing things step by step together, understanding it all at one time. And then you do, the student does. We model, we provide guided practice, which is back to the thinking aloud on the board, that good stuff. And then assessment or independent practice so that teachers can go back through and see whether they need to start the process over or not. So the whole like overarching theme here is evidence-based practices. So these are actions that teachers can implement that are proved by data. They've been researched, they're tried and true, and they work. We should use these as often as we realistically can in the classroom because we do know they work, but also even though we know that these practices work, every student also still is an individual at the same time, and so one evidence-based practice might work for one individual and their specific needs, but it might not work for another. So that's why we have to include them as realistically as we possibly can. These are not research-based or recommended practices. They're all different. While these things are researched and recommended, they are different though. So this comes into the main evidence-based practice that we discussed in the module, which is peer tutoring, which I think is super duper cool because it specifically helps students diagnosed with emotional behavior disorders. It can help any student, but it's so beneficial for those who are diagnosed with an EBD. And it's structured in a way for students to work and learn together, but also in a controlled and safe environment. This really helps motivate students both academically and behaviorally. And you can do this among several ages. So like a child from an older grade can come in and pair up with a buddy in a younger grade. You can do this in your own classroom among the same ages by pairing a student who's probably more well behaved with a student who's not, or a student who is the more knowledgeable other, who has mastered a topic with a student who's struggling. Or you can do peer-assisted learning strategies, which is a great example of the pairs where one struggles and one is the more knowledgeable other. I don't know why I wrote EBP, but that's okay. But yeah, I think I covered everything. I really think that the whiteboard is a cool tool. I'm definitely out of my comfort zone recording myself at a whiteboard though. Like if I'm at a whiteboard with my art class, I'm in my comfort zone. If I'm student teaching at a whiteboard, I'm in my comfort zone. I'm pretty comfortable now from being in Palmetto College to record myself, but trying to teach at a whiteboard while recording myself is new, and I thought it would be fun to try. So if this didn't really work out, I would love for you guys to be like, hey Ashley, don't do that. But if you thought it was cool, I'll definitely get better as I progress because practice makes perfect. But thank you guys so much for watching my video.